What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a long overdue season ending recap episode of Two Goalies, One Mic. Brought to you, as always, by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need to get a beer, get on over to Fatty Beer. Let them know that we over here at Two Goalies One Mic sent you. You saw how immaculate the vibes there could be this year during the live watch parties, during just the outdoor parties, watching games just there, post game shows. I mean, we had a blast there. I know Hurls was able to join us for a live episode there this season. And just because the season's over doesn't mean you guys don't have to show up and show out at your local family, your local Fatty Beer. Again, just a great time at all their locations. So make sure you go check them out. Of course, as always, Extreme Discount Mattress, Western New York's finest selection of mattresses and adjustable beds, featuring the Cool Gel Memory Foam, two-sided mattresses, tele-latex, organic mattresses, Chatham Wells, and of course, Scott Living. All for 1/3 to half the supposed sale prices anywhere. So stop in our 7 locations across Western New York or check out their new website, which is at extrememattress.com. That is extreme with an X. Or you can check out the new closeout center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga, up to 80% off their already low prices on one-of-a-kinds, closeouts, and floor samples. Get a quality mattress for literally pennies on a dollar. Extreme Discount Mattress. We sell mattresses for less, a lot less. Remember, if you mention you're a fan of Two Goalies One Mic, you get yourself a free mattress protector with the purchase of any mattress from Extreme Discount Mattress. So make sure you mention you're a fan. My new mattress is being delivered actually this Saturday. Super pumped because if it's any good as the last mattress I got from Extreme Discount Mattress, which I've laid on it. I mean, for like off and on when I was trying it out, but I haven't gotten a chance to sleep on it obviously yet. But super excited to get a good night's sleep on my new mattress. So, and last but not least, Impulse Physical Therapy, Western New York, located at 5087 Broadway, Suite 100 in Depew, New York, right next to Catalyst Fitness. 5-star facility, 5-star staff over at Impulse Physical Therapy New York. Give a slip and fall at work. You get hurt on the field, you get hurt on the ice, whatever it might be, they will take care of you over at Impulse Physical Therapy. They're currently helping me get back on track to hopefully playing hockey again one day after a pretty bad accident I had at work just over a year ago. So make sure you give Alex Peters and his staff look them up over at Impulse Physical Therapy in Depew. So Hurls, we've had like a week now to kind of get our bearings back. You know, I'm sure you've watched plenty of playoff hockey. I personally have not. I've chosen to just refrain from watching any hockey at all because maybe I'm still a little salty and bitter, especially seeing like how, I don't want to use the word bad, Montreal has looked, but I mean they're averaging 11 shots on net per game right now. Like, and just knowing that we would probably give Carolina at least. I mean, granted, yeah, there was the first game where Carolina looked like they hadn't played hockey in 2 weeks because they hadn't. But the next 2 games, I mean, I don't know, man. It looked like watching circa 1997 Devils hockey.
Yeah, it cuts a little deeper. I think Carolina matches up pretty well with the Canadiens in terms of how they play defensively and how structured they are. I think it's way more similar to the Tampa Bay Lightning in how in Game 7 of their first round series they held the Canadiens to 9 shots on goal, and somehow the Canadiens still won the game. As much as he's a little bit annoying in the way that he deals with players in front of his net, Jacob Dobish is playing really well. He's keeping his team in games. He did in the Sabres series, despite some of his antics, despite the flopping. He is making big saves on high danger chances, and he has throughout this series as well. I haven't watched each game in its entirety, but if you go back to the Sabres series, he came up in big moments, and that's what you need from your goalie at this time of year. But yeah, it does make it hurt a little bit more knowing that I do believe the Sabres would have managed at least 20 shots a game on the Hurricanes, given their speed and their talent. And I do believe they were, as we discussed, the better team in Game 7. But that's not how hockey works. The deserve to win meter isn't always indicative of who actually wins the game, and there's a lot of factors that go into it. But yeah, it is kind of tough to see, especially even seeing the favorite going into the NHL playoffs, the Colorado Avalanche, being swept in the Western Conference Final by the Vegas Golden Knights. If you paid attention to the Golden Knights in the last few weeks of the season, following John Tortorella being hired, it's not too surprising, especially given their pedigree and the guys that they have on that team. But it is surprising that the Avalanche are now out, and it's seemingly anybody's race of from these final three teams to win the cup.
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy, man. Like you said, like 8 games left in the season. John Tortorella was hired to be the coach of the Van. It was out of nowhere too. Nobody could have remotely predicted that happening, and now he's going to be coaching in the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, he couldn't even predicted that, in his wildest dreams. And this is just like worst case. This is like a nightmare for Sabres fans, because obviously you don't want to, you hate to see it. I think it's more about the fans. It's a combination of two things in Montreal: the fans and just the entitlement that they have, because original six, we're so, we're meant to be here. Blow me. That combined with the flopping, like the insane amount of flopping and diving from that team. We talked about with Dobish. I mean, you have who was the one? Caden Gooley was another. A couple of them, and then obviously just knowing we're the better team. In my opinion, we're the better team. I just think they got the saves when they needed it, and we just didn't. Then you have the Vegas Golden Knights, Jack Eichel. I mean, enough said. And if you want to even go further beyond that, their goaltender, who probably shouldn't be playing in the NHL this year or even more. I mean, regardless of how you feel the Canadian justice system works, it kind of blows my mind that guy is, we'll leave it at that. And then, of course, there's the Carolina Hurricanes, the cup that should have been Buffalo's if it not for a freak staff infection and just an insane amount run on injuries to the Sabres blue line back in 05-06. So this is like nightmare scenario if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan.
Yeah, I said it last night that the only team that would necessitate me rooting for the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup Final, it would be the Vegas Golden Knights. Obviously, there's the Jack Eichel situation. There's Carter Hart. There's even John Tortorella. I've had a weird experience with in terms of how I felt about him as a person and a coach, and in the way that they have, I mean, maybe expertly navigated the long-term injured reserve, what Mark Stone has done throughout his tenure there, how they have signed free agents, how they've navigated the cap. You could say that it's really intelligent, but you could also say that it's a little shady. Who knows? Either way, it is quickly become the, I would say, common villain for all NHL fans, the Vegas Golden Knights. They've, I think, made the playoffs in 8 of 9 seasons they've existed, and they're in the Stanley Cup Final in 3 of their 9 seasons, a third of their existence, which is just absolutely insane. As much as you hate them, you have to give them credit for how they've operated, and maybe they were set up for success in that expansion draft, but the team has been aggressive. They've made the moves that have needed to be made to help them win on the ice, and sometimes that's hockey. That's the business, and they've done clearly a very good job of that. But yeah, not the greatest. It's going to be tough to root for anybody in the Stanley Cup Final, but whoever comes out of the East, I think I will be rooting for no matter what.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. This is like one of those cups I don't know if I want to watch. It's
the Stanley Cup Final. I'm a fan of hockey first and foremost, and it is the highest level and the biggest stage in the world. And no matter,
I say that I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, no matter who's in it, I'll be watching. And I know it's gonna be tough, right? Like, yeah, it's not the easiest and it's not super palatable, but at the end of the day, it is gonna be theater. It's gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be extremely intense. And if it's looking like it'll be Carolina, we'll see what happens tonight. But even if it's Montreal, I think that's a pretty cool underdog story of a really young upstart team going up against the evil empire in the Vegas Golden Knights. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. And let's say Montreal wins, then I know there was a lot of talk about the Lightning fans rooting for the Canadiens because they think they'd be the eventual champions. And if the Sabres end up losing to the eventual Cup champions, I think that does, especially in overtime in Game 7, that puts the season and even the playoffs in a different light.
Yeah, you make some good points. If you could find a silver lining to watching, like a Buffalo Sabres fan, silver lining, finding something to root for out of these three teams, what are you rooting for?
I mean, I think that would be as tough as it is to root for the Canadiens. Like, I think losing to the eventual Cup champion, I think, is a silver lining. And competing with them, it was back and forth. There were pendulum swings. It was kind of one-sided either way throughout that series. But I think it was relatively even if you look at it in totality. So if you can say as a Sabres fan to help yourself sleep at night that you were one bounce away, one Tage Thompson pass, one Tage Thompson shot,
One West will call him quick whistle
from beating the eventual Stanley Cup champions, I think that is the silver lining. And if not, maybe it's anyone beating Vegas. I think you could root for that too if it is Carolina. They obviously haven't won since 2006. Of course, Jack Eichel's already won since he's been in Vegas. I don't think he's nearly as hated as he used to be, but I think rooting against Vegas could be another silver lining for Sabres fans. So I think it's intriguing. I think it's cool. I think upsets are awesome. And it's not how anybody expected it would go, especially in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, I think it's going to be around. I'm not going to have a rooting interest in anything. Like, I think I'm just going to watch. But let's not dwell on the past. I'm sure this will keep coming up more and more. Let's celebrate this season that was. Let's be real. What we got to experience as Sabres fans this year, it was something really special. You've said it. I've said it. I think you can easily say this was probably a top 5 season, top 3 season, even in franchise history. You go back to the 05-06 team and how fun that was, even 06-07, which obviously expectations were not met remotely, but President's Trophy winning hockey team. But there were a lot of, I've always said my favorite team will always be the 96-97 team. I've always felt that if Hasek didn't get hurt in the playoffs, that team makes it to the finals. Because there was no better player in the world that year than Dominik Hasek for goalie. It didn't matter. He was the best player in the world. And but I think this guy, it's like a 1A, 1B situation with that season and this season because what a ride, Hurls. Just what a ride. There's so much optimism going forward. We'll talk about the off season. There's, it's such a breath of fresh air. Breath of fresh air. I don't know, whatever. Breath of fresh air to not think about the draft, not care about the draft, and look at a season where wow, what's our GM going to do? What guy is he going to bring in to put this team over the top? Are we going to bring anybody in? Do we need to bring anybody in? It's such a cool thing to be able to talk about finally as a Buffalo Sabres fan. And I just really want to take a second to soak it all in, Hurls.
Yeah, I've done that for the past week and a half as much as possible, combined with the grief and the sadness of not watching them play anymore. It was absolutely remarkable what they accomplished from December 9th up until May 18th. The comebacks, the dominating efforts, the ability to protect close leads in the third period as many times as they have, the multiple win streaks of 5+ games. There were so many different moments. I pointed out 4 of them that stick to me. The end of the 10-game win streak where Tage, he was just announced to play on the Olympic team on New Year's Eve, right before the game. They beat one of the best teams in the NHL on the road. Rasmus Dahlin's hat trick in Toronto the day after it was announced that he had lost his child with his fiance during the heart transplant situation. The 8-7 game against Tampa Bay was one of the best regular season games I've ever watched in my life. And that included a comeback in and of itself against a team that we all hated, that the fan bases were going back and forth. At home with the Goat Heads, it was just an unbelievable game. And then one of the best sporting events I've ever been to in my life, Game 1 against Boston. Matthias Samuelsson's goal to make it 3-2, Alex Tuck's empty netter to make it 4-2, the first playoff win in 15 years. There were so many moments. Those are the ones that stuck out to me. People mentioned Matthias Samuelsson's goal against the Rangers, where he went short side on Jonathan Quick to seal that game. There's so many others. Even Colton Ellis's shutout, I think I remember, was one of the most fun post-game shows because that was so unexpected, but it was so necessary.
It was so out of nowhere.
Winning the division against Chicago. There's so many moments and so many guys that stepped up that in conjunction of everything made the 2025, 2026 Buffalo Sabres team what they were. And if you go back 20 years, that 05-06 team didn't have many expectations. They made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Final. I think this team had even less expectations, and they were a bounce away from getting to the Eastern Conference Final. So we'll see if that 06-07 and the 26-27 Sabres have the same type of expectations, have the same type of results. I think that was a 113-point team that won the President's Trophy, as you mentioned, and faltered a little bit in the playoffs. So the Sabres aren't going to sneak up on anybody next year. I think we can talk about next year when the roster we have more clarity on it. But going into the next season, they are going to have the burden of not being able to sneak up on anybody. And that is the consequence of playing as well as they did. But I think it's a reward as well, because they get to play at that level and they know that's where they stand throughout the league.
Yeah, no doubt. And you list some of my favorite moments, like, we'll list our top, our top 3 or top 5 moments too at some point here over the next hour. I think of that 8-7 he went over Tampa Bay, being there for that, just the atmosphere in the crowd, and how, like, the post-game show we did after, like, how insane it was. My trip to New York City and being able there for a huge Sabres win. I think it was a comeback win at MSG. Never being at a hockey game in Madison, never being at anything in Madison Square Garden before. And my first time being able to experience, like, the win that we had with 2 of my, my best buddies, Ken Noski and Greg Day. It was a blast. Just so many great moments this year, but it wouldn't be an episode of Two Goalies from Mike without the peanut gallery, and of course without a few super chats from our boy Rakeem Davis. Really shocked Colorado got swept, and Dobis flops more than SGA. Am I dumb for not knowing what SGA means?
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP of the National Basketball Association 2 years in a row on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, okay.
You've heard of him?
Yes, I have. I didn't know the abbreviation.
That's a really good comparison, Rakeen, because I think as mad as people are with Jacob Dobish, they're even worse with SGA. It's getting pretty bad. And that guy, oh my gosh, there was a call the other night against the Spurs where he literally wasn't touched and just fell down shooting a jump shot.
I saw that replay.
I like SGA. I think he is an incredible player, and he's a former Clipper, and I'm a pretty big Clipper fan. One of the worst trades in NBA history, but he has taken it to a different level this postseason, and it is a bit unfortunate. But shout out SGA.
Has it been that bad?
It's been really bad, and it's not even just the playoffs. It's been the whole season. He uses his leverage to get defenders on his back, and then as soon as he shoots, he just falls on the floor, and he's tricking refs, and he's tricking the way that people look at the game. And it's honestly pretty impressive with how in the same way that what the Knights have done it, because he's clearly doing it. He's not actually getting fouled in like an aggressive manner, but yeah, it's really amazing. But people are getting upset, really upset. But Dobish in the same way. As soon as he's touched, he'll flop. As soon as a guy is even near his crease, not even in his crease. Even the other night where he used both of his hands to take out the legs of a guy. That was insane. I've played the position of goalie for almost 30 years, and I've never once felt the need to do that. That is just insane behavior in the net, and I think it's pretty childish and immature.
So, like, staying on the topic of flopping, not again, this is just me I've had a lot of fun with the Habs fans too, even after the loss. Like, Like, did you see that clip of Dobish's like playing in college? Was it with Ohio State or whatever it was? And just
I
like,
did see that. Yeah.
dude, like, yo, he's been doing this for a while, man.
Yeah.
Like,
He actually got
he
called
just
for actually got called for interference on that one.
did you ever see? So have you ever seen Saving Private Ryan?
A long time ago, kind of, not
Say
really.
yes or no. Yes or no.
Let's go with no.
Okay. Wow. Okay. You have to see that movie. It's one of the best movies of all time. It's incredible.
I've seen parts.
It's honest to God. I can't believe you haven't seen Saving
Oh,
Private Ryan.
we've been over this. I've got some.
No, I am
I'll have some free
compiling.
time in the off season. I'll give me 10
I'm
movies. I'll give you 10 movies that I haven't seen, and I'll watch them before the end of the summer.
We got to compile a list. Oh my God. Well, there's during the end scene where they find Private Ryan over in wherever he was during World War II, and like the premise of the movie is he's one of four brothers. I believe it's four brothers, and three of his brothers are all killed in action, and he's the only one left. And Tom Hanks's character and his team are tasked with to go find him in the middle of Europe. Like, find him. We can't have all four of this woman's children die in action. We're not going to deliver four flags. So 1 second. Come on, guys. Come on. Sorry, my dogs are getting on a line here. So regardless, the end scene, there's a sniper, an American sniper. They're defending this bridge because Private Ryan refuses to leave his platoon one man short because their job is to defend this bridge. And if they can't defend it and Germany, overtakes them, they have to blow the bridge. So there's a sniper up in there. He's shooting German soldiers, take them all out from the high ground, and he's like saying this like prayer as he's doing it. And it's been used universally as like a meme for like floppers. Anybody who flops. Like LeBron has been in this meme notoriously. And I was thinking about that like today. I'm like, yo, like you could probably take every single time Jacob Dobish has dived or flopped in the playoffs and make an insane meme with that single scene. Because every time he shoots a single shot rifle, he'd shoot, cock it back, say another part of the prayer, shoot again, cock it back, shoot again. And it's just like every single time you cut the Dobish flopping. That's like how bad it was with this guy. And I'd be interested to see what he was like all season long, because we really didn't notice it until obviously we played against him. But if he's doing it now, he's probably been doing it all year.
Well, I mean, he was doing it in college, so I would imagine, yeah, this has just been a part of his psyche and his demeanor since he's been a goaltender. There's no other way to look at it in the way that he operates. I've never seen a goalie act the way that he has. I've heard of Billy Smith back in the day in the way that he was pretty violent with guys in front of his net, but that was a different age and a different era of the NHL. I haven't seen it in the modern day NHL, to be honest. You got to fight for your crease. You gotta own your space, and you got to let the ref know if guys are getting in your crease and taking advantage of your space. And obviously, egregious examples or even non-egregious examples of goaltender interference get called back all the time, even in that series with Konsta Helenius and the way that he went across Dobish's crease, which in my opinion I didn't like. But the way in which he does it is crazy to me.
Like, I forget the Zucker play. Don't get me wrong, Zucker made contact with him, but like the way he cocked his head back, like literally he just got punched square in the face. You know what I mean? Like whiplash. That was insane. And he's done it a couple times in the playoffs. Like I respect like the level he was able to play at when his team needed him, even here in the finals, especially when they're averaging like 11 or 12 shots on net. But like I cannot respect that type of play. Like, and I saw somebody even say too, like some Habs fan like defending everything. They go, well, goalies are taught to do that. It's like I must have fucking missed that during all of my goalie clinics. Throughout all the ones I went to my entire life, like the Gordon Bombay, act hurt, get indignant goaltender class on taking dives. That must be that I must have missed all that.
Yeah,
Did you catch that one?
I missed that, and all of my Rick Hines goalie schools that I went to.
Yeah,
or all the goalie coaches I've had throughout my career. Nobody specifically or overt or even subliminally said to do that. So different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll cut it right into it. I mean, do you want to save it for the end of the episode, or do you want to do this now?
Let's do it now before my my beer gets cold.
Okay, so we're gonna do a Beer Sabre Toast because I finally got my Beer Sabre to the season that was. I've not. This is my first time ever chugging a Beer Sabre. You're a seasoned veteran.
Are you gonna chug the whole thing?
Should we chug the whole thing?
I can do it if you want.
How much of this do I have to fill up?
I would fill it. Oh boy, give it a minute. Yeah, I mean that's gonna do the whole thing. I just have a. You can go halfway.
So like, okay, hold on.
This is one of my worst pours in a long time.
So like that right there, because that seems like a lot.
That's a good pour. So that's a tall boy that you have, right?
Yeah. So it's like right up to the goat head logo.
Yeah, I mean, once this foam settles, I'll be there pretty close to that. You don't have to do the whole thing. Just do as much as you want.
No, well, so, oh, dude, this is gonna be nuts. This is my very first Beer Sabre chug, and this is to the 2025-2026 Buffalo Sabres. The incredible season they gave us. This is to the Lion King. This is to the UPL. This is to Tage. This is to Darlene and everything he went through this year. This is to Lindy. This is to Yarmo. This is to
Zach Benson, Josh
Warpath, Zach Benson, Josh Stone. This is to all of you.
Matthias Sanderson.
The RJ.
Owen Power.
Owen Power and his crooked ass helmet. And his crooked helmet. This is to all of you guys for this is my dog who can't seem to shut up because he's getting agitated with the other dog. This is to all of you. And
do you want some technique on actually chugging the Sabre before you do it?
Sure.
So kind of like Das Boot, if you've ever seen Beer Fest.
Where you twist it?
Yeah, not necessarily twist it, but it does create a little bit of a vortex and it comes out quicker than you would imagine. So start slow and then it's kind of like a luge. It eventually will, like the laws of physics will dictate that it comes down the luge. So people make the mistake of trying to do too much too quickly and then it misses your mouth and goes everywhere. So start quickly and then it eventually will shoot down the luge. And yeah, there you have it.
All right, we'll see if I can do this. We're going to cheers. Be very careful that we're not spilling on our brand new laptop. Cheers. Cheers to you, the Peanut Gallery. Cheers to the Peanut Gallery. Cheers to all of you. Here goes nothing. I just spilled that. Oh my God. It's all over. That was awful.
I'm telling you, not a drop. Not a drop.
No, I wasn't expecting it to come out that fast.
To be fair, I mean, I told you. I did tell you.
You did tell me. I'll finish the tall boy.
I properly warned you. And OGs like myself. Yeah, no drops here. It's
yeah.
There's a different level. I tried to warn you. I really did.
You did, man.
I gave you expert advice.
Oh my God. For those of you who aren't watching and are like audio only, like I am absolutely covered in beer right now. Not covered, but like I would say I probably got 75% down of what I poured.
I actually think that was my best one yet. And
yeah,
with all the experience that I've gained, I think that is representative of the journey that we've been on this season. On the first night it was available against the Blackhawks when they won 9-3, and I said I would get one Beer Sabre for every goal that night, and to every game I've bought.
Is that the night you lost? Is that the night you lost your wallet?
No, I lost my wallet at game 1 against Boston. But every game I've brought it to since. Contrary to popular belief, you can bring your old Beer Sabre into the arena. Some people don't know that, so I've had it with me. I was just offered $500 for it the other day, and I said no. I will never sell this thing because it means too much. But yeah, shout out to the Beer Sabre. Shout out to the butter dish. There is a lot of lore that will go along with this Sabre season. and the conversations online, the memes, everything that's been involved with it has been super fun.
But I'm gonna
NHL
finish
teams
this off.
NHL teams have tried to replicate this. The Carolina Hurricanes came out with a beer skate, which I think is not really creative at all. Yeah, all hockey teams wear skates, but it's not related to the organization. The one that I think is the coolest is the Utah Mammoth beer tusk. They have a tusk that looks like the tusk of a mammoth that you can drink out of. I like that a lot. I've seen beer tusks before. I've never seen a beer saber, so still give the nod to us. And there are beer sticks. I know the Sabres had a beer stick back in the day, but nothing has compared to the beer saber. It is a legendary item that stands alone, in my opinion. And I know that they will ramp up production to have more next season. So cheers to all of you. Cheers to the team. And go Sabres. Go Beer Sabres. I wonder if Duane just went to throw up. I guess we'll see when he gets back. It's happened to me before. It actually happened to me after the 8-3 win against the Canadiens in Game 6. I got a little too ahead of myself and had to leave mid-podcast. But I did it very slyly and expertly and was able to boot and rally, as they say, and come back stronger. But yeah, here we are. I guess moving on to what we want to talk about. I guess the first point, and we'll get into it when Duane gets back. There you are. Was ending the drought. You hear me, Duane? Can't hear you.
No, sorry about that. My the beer that spilt on the floor, my dogs decided like, hey, that looks tasty. So,
you had to go puke, didn't you?
No.
I was telling our
audience
audience that after the 8-3 win in Game 6 against the Canadiens, I did a chug, and it was probably too many collaboratively on the night, and I had to leave mid-podcast to go to the bathroom to boot and rally, and then I came back very quickly, if I must say so myself. But
yeah,
that has happened before.
Yeah, so like a lot happened after the first pour. Obviously, again, I know you did warn me, but I just decided to just go for it. I just went for it. I went for it.
I mean, you didn't listen to my advice.
Not at all. Like honestly, when you were talking, it was like that teacher from the Peanuts cartoon. I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking go for it.
I mean, if there was anyone to listen to regarding the Beer Sabre, I think it would be me.
I think I was just overwhelmed with excitement. And I don't drink a lot, and I'm a lightweight.
Yeah, I don't drink a lot either.
And I was excited to give this a rip because I feel like for an avid fan as I am and how big these have been, like a couple people was like, what do you think of the Beer Sabre? How many Beer Sabres have you had? Like none, because I haven't gotten one yet. Because the games I go to, they're either not on sale, or I would go there, but you had to be there an hour and a half before face-off to get one.
Yeah, I'm happy they had them for Game 7. I think that they did a good job of making 10,000 available. For that night, so.
And they'll be back next year, no doubt.
For sure, 100%. They'll have more time to come up with the demand, and maybe they'll come up with different versions, right? Like I think this is really cool. Maybe they could do different colors. They can do a variety of different ways to keep this going. So yeah, great job by the Burs. But I was when you were away, I was getting into the bullet points that we were going to get to, and the first one was ending the drought, which going into the season I think was the main goal. I think a lot of us didn't expect for that to happen, or a lot of the fan base didn't expect for that to happen, given the lack of impactful moves in the offseason, right? Like I think that the combination of Justin Danforth and Alex Lyon didn't necessarily excite too many people. But
no, definitely not.
The one caveat that we said in our season preview was that if the young guys actually continue to develop, and let's say the trades that they made, like Josh Doan, if a combination of things actually work, and everything comes together, not only the scoring, but the defense and the goaltending. If everything comes together, this team could be actually good. We forecasted anywhere from, I think, 95 to 98 points. I don't think we ever expected they could go on a run and get 109, but everything did come together. They got scoring from their stars in Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck. They got secondary scoring from Josh Doan and Jason Zucker and Jack Quinn and Zach Benson. They had one of the best top 4 defensive units the NHL has seen in a long time, especially with the amount of minutes they played in Rasmus Dahlin, Matthias Samuelsson, Bowen Byram, and Owen Power. And throughout the year, they got a combination of good goaltending from all 3 guys, something that people complained about when the rotation was first a thing, but then they came to realize, as we all came to realize, that it was pretty important for them to have 3 goalies in Alex Lyon, UPL, and Colton Ellis. So all 3 phases came together, not including the power play, which was pretty average all year long, and the penalty kill, which was pretty good all year long. A lot of it was important enough for them to go on the run that they did and win the Atlantic Division, which is something I don't think anybody would have expected going into this year.
No shot. Like, I remember, like, we knew about Alex Lyon actually, like, signing before it was announced, given our relationship with, Greg and his brother and his and Anthony's, being a former teammate of Al. Like, and we talked about it. We're like, yeah, that's a solid signing, man. He'll be a really good mentor / backup. I don't think any of us would have realized the guy would have been your night 1 starter. And I mean, I think we talked about it. We speculated it, given the preseason and how things went. And did UPL, was he hurt to start the year?
Yeah, he was hurt to start the year.
He got hurt. Yes, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And that's the reason Lyon got as much time as he did to begin the year.
Yeah, but with the way he played in the beginning too, and how slow of a start the Sabres had, like you said, Justin Danforth was a guy they brought in, and, Mason Gearston, and he like, what I mean, like all these names. They were just like names of guys, and they went and they brought back. I mean, was he a Zucker extension this past off season?
I think it was. I'm almost positive it was.
Yeah. So like, we were kind of looking at it as we were trying to be half glass half full. We talked about we did our season preview show where we picked the whole schedule out, and we were 98 and 96 points. I think me and you both had, and we thought, oh man, that might be good enough for a wild card spot. But like, never in anybody there is. I don't care what your name is. Like, I don't care who you are in the Sabres Twitter sphere. There isn't a single person in this fan base who would have said with a straight face, this team is winning the Atlantic Division this year. And you would have been laughed at. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a fact. It's just a fact. We even think about, we were just hoping for the second wild card spot. Maybe. But to win the Atlantic Division, winning the division for the first time in over a decade, like, with the moves or lack thereof in the offseason, the production that you got from, I mean, you always knew what you were going to get from Tuck and from Tage, but knowing what Dahlin had gone through in the offseason, and the struggles he went through, and just the production that you got from players that you weren't really expecting to get it from, like Krebs, like that's a guy too. Like, I think he killed a lot of narratives about him coming into the season. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Especially with his ability to not only play on the 4th line and be that chaotic rabble-rouser that he was, but eventually get up to the 1st line and produce and be the talented top 15 pick that he was. I think that he showed some versatility and some ability to play in different ways that I think he will be valuable to this team moving forward. In what capacity? Who knows? Because obviously there's a lot of guys that need to be signed, and there's a lot of guys whose development has been ramped up very quickly, namely Konsta Helenus and Noah Ostlund. But I think that Peyton Krebs has endeared himself to the fan base. He's obviously beloved in the locker room, and his play on the ice supported that as well. So yeah, I think he definitely shifted a lot of narrative and a lot of discussion about him this season.
Yeah, and you look at the JJ Peterka trade that nobody really wanted because like you saw the potential of JJ and his goal scoring ability, and yeah, you got Michael Kessering is the big piece coming back, finally finding that right shot defenseman, stay at home guy, the physical guy to play with own power, and then he can't stay healthy and just like he's hurt at the start of the season, and then Josh Doan just absolutely out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere. Did he have 25 goals this season? Was it just 20 or between 20 and 25?
Off the top of my
He had
head,
20. He definitely had 20.
let's see.
But like, I don't think anybody predicted 20 goals out of Josh Doan in his first year with the Sabres. But given the opportunity and an opportunity he hadn't got to Utah.
25 goals.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Nobody would have pegged him for a 25 goal score. But he played he was given a role, a top 6 role sometimes with his team. Sometimes third line, sometimes the top line, sometimes like he bounced around a little bit, and nobody had it on their bingo card that guy was going to play at the level he did this year. So getting the contributions, from the usual suspects, your Tages, your Darlenes, your Tucks, but also getting those contributions, and Benson taking a massive step forward in his development. Proving a lot of haters wrong, in my opinion. Again, I will die on the hill that he was their best player in the playoffs, probably next to Samuelsson. Samuelsson, like all these guys. Like, if there's a comeback player of the year in the NHL, it starts and ends. That conversation starts and ends with Mattias Samuelsson.
Yeah,
it's like. We'll keep.
We always talk about how misleading, and it is a misleading stat, plus minus. But do you know what Mattias Samuelsson's plus minus this year was?
Plus 20 something.
41.
Wow, holy fuck!
When it's that good, I think it lends you to believe that there is a reason behind it more than there's not. Obviously, anytime you're on the ice, you're not necessarily always involved in the play with a goal for or a goal against, and that's the reason it is considered to be misleading. But when it's plus 41, and then the eye test also supports that Mattias Samuelsson was super strong in his own end, and he scored 13 goals and had 28 assists, I think that is indicative of a player that controlled both ends of the ice, and he was one of the best players on the team this season.
Without a doubt. I mean, I guess we can jump right into it. Like, who's your Sabres MVP? And there's a lot of conversation. You can talk about the goaltending, whether you want to say UPL or Alex Lyon. I mean, Alex Lyon almost set an NHL record this year for most consecutive road wins in a row. You could talk about Mattias Samuelsson and the season he had. You could talk about Rasmus Dahlin and how incredible he was, being nominated for the Norris. I think he's the runaway winner for the Masterton Trophy. We can talk about Tage, Olympic gold this year. Another 40-goal season. He scored 40 this year, right? Yeah.
40 goals, 41 assists, 81 points in 81 games.
Yeah. So, like, talk about that guy. I think if you're gonna, I mean, who's your MVP of this team this year?
It's pretty clearly Dahlin. I think that the combination of not just the production, 74 points in 77 games as a defenseman in this league, I think is pretty remarkable, especially when you consider him to be one of the top 5 defenders in the league. And after everything you went through, especially at the beginning of the season, for him to not being his necessarily himself in the first even 20 games, to taking the leave of absence, missing a few games. He only missed 5 games this season. Especially with what he was dealing with his fiance and everything that they went through, for him, especially after that absence in November, for him to come back as quickly as he did and then play at that level for the rest of the season, which aligned very closely with the Sabres going on the run that they did, which started on December 9th. That was about a week and a half, 2 weeks after he got back. I believe he is the Sabres' most skilled, most important player. I think people had questions about his leadership. I don't think anybody can question his character and his leadership after what he accomplished this season. So for me, it's a pretty clear runaway winner in Rasmus Dahlin. But as you mentioned, there are guys that are in the conversation. Obviously, Tage, 81 points in 81 games. Like you can't deny that level of production. In the same way that Matthias Samuelsson was plus 41, Tage was -6. But that's not indicative of how important he was as the top center for most of this season. Obviously Alex Lyon could be in there with his record-setting road win streak in December and January. UPL's play at the end of the season following the Olympic break, they all played well. Even Matthias Samuelsson being as stalwart and as great as he was on the back end. But for me, I do believe it is pretty clearly Rasmus Dahlin.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you there. Dahlin, I mean, we learned about it, when he came for, was it the Players Tribune? Is that where he did the
No, it
article?
was
Just a letter to the fans?
no, Carolina posted to her Instagram initially. And
But he wrote a letter. He wrote a letter to fans about what happened, did he not?
I don't remember that.
Or was it her, or was it just her that came?
Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't remember that personally. If that did happen and people want to relay us to that, by all means, it's not something I remember. I know he's briefly spoken about it with the media, but the updates that we've gotten have all come from, or at least that I've seen, have come from her Instagram.
Yeah. But and then later on, finding out that while all this was going on, she was pregnant and they lost a child. So going through that, almost losing your fiance, losing your child within all of that, and because of obviously how dangerous it is to even attempt to take a cross-state flight, let alone across the ocean flight, going literally across the Atlantic, not being able to be with the person you care about the most in the world during these not being able to be there for each other in person, how difficult it is. And to still, and yeah, he struggled, obviously. I mean, I don't think anybody could really give him a hard time on why he was struggling. But when he came back from being able to visit her, when he took that leave of absence, to play at the level he did still, it was inspirational, nothing short of it. And I've said it, I'm not going to say he should win the Hart Award. He's not going to win the Hart Trophy, sorry. But he'll get votes. He'll get second and third place votes for sure, because that's how much he did mean to the Buffalo Sabres in the season, and literally breaking this 14-year drought, winning the Atlantic Division. They can't do it without him.
Yeah, and even going back to last season where they had that 13-game pointless or winless streak, he was out for 8 games of that, if I'm not mistaken. When he's not on the ice, this team operates at a different level, and they are not nearly as good. People get on him about his penalties, which I think he plays in an aggressive manner because he needs to, in the way that he plays the game and controls the game at both ends of the ice. Yeah, he could, I would say, especially in the playoffs, he could probably have pulled the reins back a little bit, but I don't want that to come while sacrificing any level of his aggressiveness and his skill at both ends of the ice. Mm-hmm. I think that you need a guy that can play with physicality, that sometimes, people even look at the Cole Caulfield play where he checked him into the post. Maybe that was a little bit much in that situation, and there were other examples, but I do think that largely he isn't taking more penalties than the average NHL defender, especially with how much he is on the ice. He won the Rick Martin Award with a fan vote, I would say probably in a landslide for all of these reasons, not only on the ice, but off the ice. We promoted GoFundMe with a Sabres fan named Sophia that had cancer. He was with her on the blue and gold carpet prior to the season opener. He has supported her throughout her journey with cancer, and he's meant the world to her and to her family. And by all accounts, I even met him briefly after game 1 when I was retrieving my wallet from security. In the 30 seconds that I interacted with him, he seems like a very genuine, down to earth, really, really nice person beyond being one of the best hockey players in the world. So I'm thankful that the Sabres got the opportunity to draft him. He was a generational prospect, and he has lived up to the expectations in more ways than one. So happy that he will be the Sabres captain for the near and distant future. And we're very lucky to have him.
Without a doubt, man. It's kind of crazy that we're entering somebody Jaybird here. Crazy Darlene Tage going to year 9 with the Sabres. Josh Allen going in year 9 with the Bills. Like, it just really seems yesterday that I remember I was sitting in my buddy Brandon's living room when they officially made that pick for Darlene. I remember I was with Mike Jafari at the now closed down. It was called the Pub in Depew, but we used to call it the Pube. Some of the best wings in Western New York back then. They were incredible. Shout out John Egan. We used to love going there for wings. But watching, it was after an ice hockey game or a beer league game. Sorry, ice hockey, a beer league game. Me and Mike Jafari went to the Pube to watch us win a draft lottery that nobody in their mind was expecting them to win, and then getting just this incredible talent on defense. And that maybe the situation in Buffalo was not ideal for a guy like Darlene to be coming into, given the circumstances, the lack of leadership, the lack of structure in front office, everything. But look what he has developed into, man. He is a Norris candidate defenseman every single year, and he will win that trophy. Would you say he will win that trophy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that next year will be his best opportunity to win it. I think obviously Quinn Hughes' situation is pretty good in Minnesota, and Cal McCarr is Cal McCarr. But I think Werenski's probably going to win it this year with his production and how important he was to his team. If you look at every single metric, it seems like he was top 5 in everything this year. So it seems like he'll probably win this year. But I think Darlene, with his role on the team, and especially if the power play improves and his production increases to what I believe can absolutely be more than a point per game, I think he's got a really good chance to win it next season.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Now that I mean, where would you rank that pairing, him and Samuelsson now? I think it's a top 3 pairing in the league, right?
It's got to be.
I would think so.
Yeah, it's up there.
If it's not, then who is?
It's up there with Cal McCarr and Devon Taves, right? I think that the steadiness and the variety in which they both play. Obviously, Darlene is way more stay at home. He's way more physical. He's super responsible in his own end. Not saying that Darlene's not, but his strength is obviously his skating ability and his ability to move the puck and his ability to create offense from the defense. The combination of skill sets that they have. And strangely enough and interestingly enough, both from the same draft. Samuelsson went at the top of the second round in the 2018 draft. And I think that was an under the radar type pick. I don't think a lot of people necessarily expected him to reach the levels that he has. And obviously he's gone through a roller coaster of situations. He talked about that at his end of season press conference. This season made him, at least mentally and emotionally, love the game again, which I think is really cool. And I think that was really forthcoming and vulnerable for him to talk about that.
You love that. Cool, you love that kind of. And you love that kind of honesty too, right? From a player, you don't, you're always you get the cliche answers during those types of locker room clean out deals and stuff like that. But as long as it doesn't involve the phrase "lose the love for the game," I mean, you love to hear that type of honesty. And I think, those apology forms that fans put out, apologize to this player for ever criticizing him. Listen, there was a lot to complain about when it came to Matthias Samuelsson. I think he even admitted to it. He even said during that whole thing, it was tough for him to come to the rinks on a lot of days. He was the only
player. He was the only player that was booed at this season's opener.
Yeah. So honestly, to see the season he had to turn it around the way he did, to be. I mean, I remember when like Skinner was joking about his goal song during between two stalls.
Yeah.
Like you have a goal song, and he had over how many goals? He had like 11 goals this season, or 10 or 11 goals this season.
13.
It was 13, even more than that.
Yeah.
So like to see the season he had both offensively and defensively, holy shit, man.
The biggest knock on him was his durability and his ability to stay on the ice. He had a variety of different injuries. I think some of them probably interfered with the other, right? Like it was a compounding situation where it felt like he could never stay on the ice consistently. And what does he do? He goes out and plays 78 games, right? Like I think that he probably easily could have played 82. Maybe it was a rest and management type situation with those 4 games, but to have questions about your durability and go out and play 72 games and play in the way which he did, plus 41 points. That's and 28 penalty minutes too. He's not a guy that takes a lot of penalties either. He is, I think, really smart, really responsible, clearly has the NHL pedigree from his father. But yeah, he morphed into something that I think was worthy of that contract when he was signed. Obviously, I think Leafs fans especially made fun of that contract when he was signed to it after only playing however many games. I think it was like 30-something games, and they signed him to that deal. But now it's looking one of the best defensive deals in the NHL.
Yeah, like, honest to God, like the Sabres have probably two of, if not the best 2 contracts in hockey right now in both Tage Thompson and Mattias Samuelsson.
Yeah, and credit to Kevin Adams and his team for.
Stop it! No.
I mean, it's true. You got to give him credit. I mean, you have to in this situation, right? Like they forecasted something that I think the market and a lot of people didn't see, and they were, I think, early in the sense of signing these guys to deals before they reached their full potential. So they deserve credit for that. And I'm not afraid to say it, and I don't think anybody should be afraid to say it. I think Kevin Adams has gotten a bad rap in a lot of ways. I think his interview with The Athletic last week, I think he said some really good things, and obviously an interview may be different than his true feelings on how that situation went down. But a lot of trades, a lot of signings, I think he deserves credit for. And it's not mutually exclusive from also acknowledging that he wasn't the best GM and he was forced into a situation with a lot of without the proper experience to be an NHL GM. Those things can exist at the same time.
Well, I refuse to let you dictate how I'm going to live my life. This is not a pro Kevin Adams podcast.
I wouldn't say that it is, but you can. That's also mutually exclusive. It's not necessarily a pro Kevin Adams podcast, but you can say things that are pro Kevin Adams.
Yeah, I wish him the best. Did he make some good moves? Yeah. Did he make some really, really bad moves? Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and those 2 things can exist at the same time.
So, whatever. But yeah, man. We got some questions in the chat about the off season, so we can get into that next. We're almost kicking an hour now. That really flew by. Maybe if my beer saber chug didn't take all 10 minutes, we'd be further along. So I apologize, people. But we do have one quick question here in the chat, and we'll get into more in the off season too. Would you consider letting Stanley walk and/or upgrading the third pair defense with a left-handed shot, D, and Kesslering?
Yeah. I think the Logan Stanley move was a bit potentially a desperation move after not getting Colton Parayko. They wanted some size. They wanted some depth. His analytical numbers weren't great in Winnipeg, despite the shooting percentage and all the goals that he scored there. I don't think he scored a goal for the Sabres in his time with the team. So clearly that regressed in the way that which was forecasted. And everyone saw the turnovers. They saw the lack of foot speed. They saw the irresponsibility in his own zone. Didn't necessarily work out in the way that I think a lot of people envisioned. So yes, I would in terms of Logan Stanley, and we'll see with Michael Kesselring. I think there is a player there still. There's a reason he was initially the centerpiece of the JJ Peterka trade. I think he dealt with a lot of injuries early in the season. He couldn't quite recover.
And when he did recover, he was too far down the depth chart to be trusted in a full-time capacity. So if there's a deal to be made, I think they'll make it. And if not, then I hope he works his ass off and he comes into camp healthy and he potentially could get on that third pair. I don't think that's out of the question either. But yes, with Stanley, and we'll see with Kesselring.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kesselring, I don't think you should get. It's so hard to find a right-handed shot defenseman in this league, man. Like, we have 4 really good left-handed shot defensemen. Samus left-handed shot. Darlene's left-handed shot. Owen Power's left-handed shot. Isn't Byram a left-handed shot?
Yeah.
Your top 4 defensemen are left-handed shot defensemen. I think it would be irresponsible, given what he went through, and obviously seeing it literally play out in front of you with how things went down with Samuelson and where he's at now. I think it would be insanely irresponsible for Jarmo Kekalainen just flat out give up on Michael Kesselring. It's difficult to find consistency on that side of the blue line. He's not making a lot of money. I don't know what it would cost to qualify him. Can't imagine it would be a lot. Maybe a bridge him. I guess it would boil down to what is a team willing to offer for Michael Kesselring.
Yeah, for sure. If there's a deal to be made, then yeah, I think they might do it. But if there's not and it doesn't make sense, I think he has a real opportunity to be on the third pairing next season. That I would say is also very much dependent upon how they feel about Connor Timmins and how they feel about Zach Metza and even Ryan Johnson, right? Like there's going to be competition for that third pair, but I think he's got a good opportunity, especially if he trains all summer and he comes into camp in really good shape and healthy, 100% healthy. I think he's going to have an opportunity.
Yeah, I go back to the right-handed shot thing. Is it sustainable to, have 4 left-handed shot to you? I don't know, but having that flexibility, a guy that when you signed him, or not signed him, when you traded for him, you truly believed he was a top 4 defenseman. I still think he's more than capable of being that guy. To have that type of depth and flexibility in your blue line, and possibly lock him up at a crazy team-friendly price, and then get that quality, that level of play out of him for that price. I think that's a no-brainer, in my opinion, if you're Jarmo Kekalainen. I really don't see the point in just throwing a guy like that away in some trade to maybe improve somewhere in your roster. I think there's other ways to improve your roster without having to just deal Michael Kesselring. So I'm very much so on team keep him. Keep him.
Yeah, if the right situation exists, right? Like I think there's a lot that can happen in the offseason. We'll see how in play they are for potentially a top 6 forward, maybe even a goalie. I think a lot of things can happen that would make this conversation a little bit different, as we've learned throughout the years. But if the roster stays relatively the same, I think he's got a really good chance to make it. And I hope he does. Too. I hope he does, because the guys seem to like him. He was close with Josh Doan. He played with Tage at the Worlds. He seems to like it enough in Buffalo, but obviously the chips didn't fall where he wanted them to this year. So we'll see what happens with him, but I think that's on the lower priority section of things that'll happen this offseason.
Yeah. From saves by, I don't see any drastic changes this offseason other than Tuch walking. That is the next, obviously the big elephant in the room, a topic that we've been regurgitating over and over again. It seemingly every time we go live, or what's we'll call it Tuch talk. Frank Saravelli came out, and I know people are very, they debate how much of a reliable source a guy like Frank Saravelli is, but you want to know what? Frank Saravelli hit the nail on the head when it came to the JJ Peterka situation. He was spot on about that. I'm not trying to use that as fuel to say that he's right, but he did go on a podcast yesterday and said he believes it's a 40% chance that Tuch signs in Buffalo. And we've heard, I would say 2 weeks ago, we heard from guys like Elliot Friedman and Darren Dreger flat out say that Alex Tuch will be he's going to sign in Buffalo. Like, we're feel pretty good about that. And now it's like deteriorated, and maybe it's an exhausting thing. Even Frank said during this podcast, he goes, maybe there could be a bitter feeling there on Tuck's side, a sour taste in his mouth, that this long process of trying to get this done and it's still not done. Maybe he feels alienated about it, given his relationship to the city, his relationship to the fan base, him being a Sabres fan growing up. Maybe he felt like, pay me what I'm worth, and maybe again, to Frank's point, maybe they just it's left a bitter taste in his mouth. But Frank also reported that he believes the Sabres have put on the table a very worthy offer, and that Tux Camp believes. I don't know if Frank misspoke, but he said Tux Camp firmly believes his AAV is in the seven-figure range. I think maybe he meant 8-figure.
Yeah.
Because that would mean double digits. You know what I mean? I think maybe Frank might have misspoke. But your thoughts on that? Given they don't seem to believe his performance in the second round affected his in the contract at all.
No, I don't think it does. I really don't.
Really he'll get it. He'll get it somewhere.
Yeah, no,
I would say with the Sabres.
His agent, his agent came out and did an article with Greg Wyshynski, talked specifically about that yes, he didn't perform in the second round, but he did in the first round, and he did all season, and he has with the majority of his time with the Sabres. There are games where he disappears, and I think that consistency, I think, is more important than the no-show in the second round. I think there are games throughout this season where he has been a no-show just for games, right? And that can happen if you're paying a guy 8 figures, which is $10 million a year plus, especially at 30 years old. But he also does everything. He scores, he defends, he plays on the penalty kill. I think he could play on the first power play unit. He gets to the net, he scores dirty goals, he scores nice goals. He's a good passer. He's obviously a great leader. He's important to the room. He is the exact prototype of who you would want on the hockey team, and especially a hockey team like the Buffalo Sabres, given his background. So, there's a lot of emotion involved, and I think that's what makes this so complicated, because there usually isn't that factor with a guy wanting to be in the area and a guy wanting to specifically be in Western New York, given where he grew up. So that makes it complicated. I think his market value is probably closer to $9 million than it is to $10 million. But who am I to say with the leverage that he's created for himself and the money that is going to be thrown around in free agency, given a lot of guys who have already signed? He's one of the best free agents available. And whether his market value is reflective of what he will actually get is an entirely different question. I think there are teams that will give him 7 years times 10.5 or 11. I really do believe there are teams that are desperate. It is really up to him whether he wants to go to a situation likely that is not better than what he has with the Sabres, being on the top line. Maybe they can guarantee or at least talk about him getting more power play time on that first unit. He's incredibly important to the penalty kill, him and Ryan McLeod, and what they accomplished this season. So, it's an interesting discussion, and can't wait to see how it plays out.
If you're Jarmo Kekalainen, where do you draw the line in the sand? What's your number?
I've been thinking a cool way to do it would be 8 times 8.9 for his number. I think that would be number one, where you should draw the line, and number two,
Sidney Crosby does the same thing.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool way for Alex Tuch to get a lot of money over an extended period of time, using that 8th year that only the Sabres have the option of using up until July 1st. And I know people think about this in different ways, but if Sidney Crosby's doing it, I think that is a pretty good indication that a guy like Alex Tuch can do it. That is close to, or I think even over $70 million. You can guarantee a lot of it. You can offer him different negotiations within that deal, maybe even incentives. There are ways to go about these deals that are intelligent, and I personally think that's where I would draw it. If he wants $9 million, he'll get $9 million, but I think right around that number, especially for 8 years, is where I would draw it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. That'd be funny. 8 for 8.9. I don't know, man. I was pretty disappointed with his performance in the second round, but I do know what he means. I think what he means to this team goes even beyond what it is on the ice. I think you would agree with that. I think he means a lot to guys like Tage and Darlene, for sure. If push it came to shove and it came to 10 million, I think I'd probably figure it out. I mean, if it got into that 8-digit range, I try and push for a 5 or 6 year deal. I don't know if Tuck would be willing to do that. And here's the thing, like, I'll never blame a player for wanting to cash in and get what they're worth, this, that. But in the reality of it all, you want to go to Seattle, which I'm pretty sure they have state taxes. You know, there are very few places in the United States of America where you play hockey where they don't have state taxes, like the state of Florida, where, you know, they have that loophole. I mean, cost of living in Buffalo is so much dramatically better than a lot of other places. It just is. Like, go to Boston or go to New Hampshire and try and buy a house there and buy that same house here and just look at the difference. There is a massive difference when it comes to cost of living. And is that extra $1 million a year really going to make or break your quality of life and the way you live your life currently right now, or you plan on living going forward? Is it really going to make or break you?
Yeah, and probably
then,
not.
And then let me finish. And then factor that into the fact, okay, where am I going to have the best chance? Am I going to take $9 million to play for 8 years in Buffalo, and have a chance at winning a cup with a very young, fast, exciting hockey team, or am I going to go to Seattle, or am I going to go to Utah, or am I going to go to these other teams who aren't making the playoffs, who aren't as fast and exciting? That's not a shot at those teams, but it's just true. Where am I going to have the best chance to win and also get paid? And if it comes down to if it comes down to taking the hometown discount at 8.5 or 9 million compared to, say, 10 or 10.5 somewhere else, I mean, come on, dude. Then if that's the fact, then you didn't really want to be in Buffalo then.
Yeah, hard to say. I think that it's a really nuanced situation, and I think that he has every right to explore every single opportunity.
Oh, for
sure. Maybe he won't explore the opportunities if the Sabres and his agent are able to come to an agreement that makes sense for him in this current moment. I know he built a house in the same neighborhood as Tage Thompson. I think he really values the life that he's created for himself and his family. He's talked about his oldest son only wanting to be introduced as playing for the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, number 89.
Number 89 with Dire Straits playing. I think there's a lot of emotion involved in this, and my gut is that it will be done.
I hope so, because I do value what he brings to this team.
Yeah, gun to my head, I think they're going to get it done, and I think Alex Tuch will be on the Sabres for the near and distant future. But it is complicated, and there's a lot to figure out. So I hope they're working on it, which I believe they are.
Next on the docket, other pending extensions. You have Zach Benson, you have Bowen Byram. I mean, we can talk about the others too. Like, I mean, I think Malenstein's a layup. He'll sign like a 1-year deal, maybe 2-year deal at a low price. Maybe Yarmo says sign for 1 year now, and I'll make it up to you on the next deal, because I mean, I think, you know, Malenstein, Melango, whatever you want to call him, I think his value is very well known on this team, and I don't think he's going anywhere. So he's coming back. No doubt in my mind he's coming back. Let's just focus on Benson and Byram. Where do you have them? Like, what's your number for Zach Benson? Offer sheets, if you really want to talk about that. It's been a while since we've seen an offer sheet, but I think if the team was going to offer sheet a player, Zach Benson probably is worth offer sheeting. If a team did come out of nowhere, Hurls, and offer Benson, I don't know what the max term you can make it on an offer sheet is. Is it 7 or 8 years? But if someone maxed that out at, say, like 8.5 million, you're matching, right?
Yeah, you gotta. But I don't think They're not going to let it get to that point, so I'm not even going to entertain that possibility because I don't think that's going to happen. I think Zach Benson is what they get done first, especially with his performance in the playoffs. Josh Jones' contract was a 7-year extension, $6.95 million per year. I think that Zach Benson's contract is going to be at least $7 million, potentially 7.5. Over 7 years. I think that you want to stay away from a bridge as much as possible with a guy like that who's as young as he is and has improved every single season. He is great at both ends of the ice. He's clearly has the ability to play on the top line, and he's proven that he's a playoff performer. So I believe it's going to be closer to 7 times 7.5, maybe even 8 million for Zach Benson, which would be crazy. He'd be making more than Tage, but that's just the way of the NHL at the moment with the rising cap. And with Bowen Byram, he's currently making 6.25 for this upcoming season. Obviously, that was arbitration, but I think right around that number, given his play this season. Obviously, he had really good stretches, but he also, as we saw in the
I don't think
second
there's a chance he's signing for less than 7.5. Bud.
Yeah, that's especially with his role in the team. Yeah, I probably not. I think the top four is really important, but you're also paying your top four a lot of money, right? With Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power. Thankfully, Mattias Samuelsson's contract is really good. They might need to figure something out with that in the next couple of years. But yeah, he's likely going to necessitate at least 7.5 as well. So those two guys are pretty important, but I do believe they are priorities for the team and they will get it done.
What's your max number for Bowen Byram?
I mean, probably 7.5, right? Like, I don't think he. Yeah, I mean, him and Owen Power played similar roles this season. I personally think, all around, especially with what we saw in the playoffs, I think Power has a higher ceiling, given his age and every. I mean, they're similar ages, obviously, and similar draft profiles and pedigrees. I think I think Power makes 8 point. I don't know off the top of my head.
Right? It's like 3.
Yeah, 8.3.
8.3.
Yeah, maybe 8 would, in that case, 8 would be my most. You are devoting a lot of your cap to your top four defensemen, but you also got to look at how important your top four defensemen were to the team this season. So having that continuity is important. It seems like they really like playing with each other, and clearly the results were pretty good this season. So yeah, I wouldn't go more than 8 though.
So I'm going to pull up his numbers right now, Bowen Byram, because I agree with you. I think Zach Benson is absolutely the priority. I think you probably get through those two guys before you get the Tuck, because you got to see what you have left over. I'm not really worried about, and obviously you have to worry about off-season moves too. Like you still want to improve. You saw him take big swings at Parayko and Rob Thomas at the deadline. I fully expect him still to do the same. And we'll talk about that in a second, but I think you're not going to get the Tuck contract done yet until you have more clarity on what you're paying Zach Benson and Bowen Byram long term. And the Bowen Byram contract wouldn't even kick in until after the next season.
Yeah, exactly. So not as big of a deal in the current moment, but yeah, I think it's important to lock up your top four defensemen for the foreseeable future.
So in the playoffs, Bowen Byram 13 games. He was an even plus minus, and he had 7 points on the season itself. He had 42 points, was a plus 15, 11 goals, 31 assists. He's played all 82 games 2 years in a row. Actually, going back to when we traded for him, he played 55 games for Colorado, and then when he was traded to Buffalo, he played 18. So I'm not sure what that math comes to, because I'm terrible at math. 65.
If you remember when we traded for him, there were injury concerns. There was a concussion.
Yeah, I remember the concussion thing. You were right. You're right.
And he's all but silenced those concerns with playing 82 games 2 straight seasons.
Yep. From Saved by Jesus, $7 million for Benson is a little crazy. Dude hasn't really even come close to 20 goals. I know he played great, but playoffs, but still. I think it's just he does everything the right, man. He is a complete player. I don't think $7 million is a stretch at all for Zach Benson. I think that's a contract you sign a dotted line, and at $7 million, you're signing a deal that you're gonna love.
I mean, he had
years into it.
He had 5 goals in the playoffs. I think that level of play in that environment really caters to his game even more so. And he just turned 21 years old, and he's played at 21 years old. He has 211 career games under his belt and 101 career points. He's only getting better. Each season, I think he's improved. It was 30 points his first season, 28 points in his second, and then 43 points in 65 games this season. If you equate that to an 82 game season, I think there was a chance he would have gotten 55 to 60 points. He had 13 goals this season, but if you've watched every single game like we have, I think he absolutely had a chance to get 20 goals this season. He just didn't capitalize early on. In scoring in the playoffs, what could give you more confidence than scoring in big time games and big time moments?
He scored in huge moments.
Exactly.
Huge moments.
And he should have had, in my opinion, the Game 7 overtime winning goal had Tage passed it over to him for a wide open net.
Wide open.
So
here's the thing too with that is you said that with confidence. He scores like you said, like when there's been a time where you've yelled at Zach Benson for A, either not shooting or B, missing a what, you just don't. You don't. Yeah, he doesn't.
I would say at points earlier in the season, I would have liked for him to shoot more. I think he was looking too much at that, but they did talk to him, and I do believe that he has more of a shot first mentality than he used to. He doesn't
recency bias. I've never really found myself like, man, I really need. You know what I mean? Like
past couple months, he was way better, but I do think at points, especially early in the season, in his first 2 seasons, he had a pass first mentality, and that's fine as a playmaker, right? Like that was his profile coming out of the draft. He was one of the best playmakers they measured. Not named Connor McDavid, according to one analytics site. Like that is very, very high praise. And Zach Benson has lived up to that bill in terms of how great he is on the forecheck, how much of a dog he is on the back check, and creating turnovers and lifting sticks and getting pucks back into the zone. Josh Doan does the same thing, but I do believe his goal scoring is going to come, and the best example of that is what we saw in the playoffs.
No doubt. Owen Power in the playoffs, 6 points, was I believe +5 across 13 games, and Owen Power's numbers regular season 81 games played, 8 goals for 29 points and a +9. So honestly, I could totally see Bowen Byram coming in just shy of the Owen Power number if you're trying to max out on that deal, and maybe that's worth it. Maybe that's worth it. I don't know. I thought Bowen Byram had an unbelievable first round. I thought Bowen Byram, you know, in terms of the things we criticized him for last season, I thought he had a great turnaround year. I would not be opposed to paying him 7.5 to even 8 if it meant keeping him here for 8 years, given what the top 4D meant to this team, both offensively and defensively this season. And we'll wrap that up for that portion of the offseason talk. We talked about Malenstein. I think that's an easy deal you get done. You sign it in maybe 1 year, and then Yarmo says, I'll make it up to you when things start to open up a little bit with the cap. You get Jeff Skinner. When does Jeff Skinner come off your books finally?
I think it's after this season, I'm pretty sure.
After this next coming season, yeah. So, like, you have that come off your cap. Like, you make it the Malenstein maybe a little bit. Maybe add an extra $1 million to his next contract. I don't know. But there aren't a lot of other deals you have to make outside of those top 2, and then obviously the Tuck conversation, which we just had. Let's kick it over to your favorite moments from this season, Hurls.
Yeah. I mean, those 4 stuck in my mind that I mentioned earlier. The end of the 10-game win streak and the 10-game win streak in totality. I mean, I even in reference to the Beer Sabre, that game I went to in November, right around Thanksgiving, winning 9-3 against the Blackhawks. Even that night, they were playing pretty well at points in November, and dominating a team like the Blackhawks in the way that in which they did gave me, at least, I'm a pretty hopeful and optimistic person generally, but even just looking at the team objectively, I knew they had the firepower. I knew they had the offensive talent, but to do that in the way that they did that night was pretty important. And then 2 days later, another game I was at, they beat the Carolina Hurricanes 4-0 in KeyBank Center. And obviously their play against the Hurricanes on the road and at home has been a bit different as of late, but that stretch in late November at least gave us, I think, breadcrumbs for what we eventually saw starting with that game in Edmonton on December 9th. They blew a lead and they eventually came back and Tuck scored in overtime and then they went on that run. But yeah, the end of the run obviously was great. The Samuelson goal against the Rangers, the short side against Jonathan Quick was one of the best goals I think he's ever scored in his career. I think
was that the one? I can't remember. Was that the one in MSG?
Yeah, in MSG.
Okay, I was at that game. Yeah,
to seal the game on the left side, came down an impossible angle, maybe 2 inches of daylight, goes short side over Jonathan Quick's shoulder. Darlene's hat trick following the news he lost his baby. It's incredible. 8-7. I think we've talked in nauseum about how amazing that game was. Alex Lyon finishing the record for the road win streak. I think it was 10 games to at least tie the record was really, really cool. And even UPL playing as well as he did following the Olympic break. I think it was pretty disappointing for him to not play for Team Finland, which I believe he probably would have gotten games and playing as well as he did down the stretch. Even the shutout streak to begin that West Coast road trip in Vegas and then up to San Jose. They won in LA as well, and then it was that crazy overtime loss in Anaheim. But I was at 2 of those games, which is really cool to see. But yeah, in totality, the season was so much fun, and then the playoffs are an entirely different animal. But the up and down nature of it was obviously really, really tough for fans to deal with. But I think the team itself took it one game at a time, and they handled it really well. And the best example was losing a really disappointing result at home in Game 5, 6-3, after scoring 3 early goals, and then going into the Bell Center on a Saturday night and getting down again early, 3-1, making the change in net and winning that game 8-3. I think tells you everything you need to know about this team. They had a warrior spirit. They were never out of it, even in the NHL production, which followed them throughout the first round. In the first game against the Bruins, they were on the bench talking to each other when they were down 2-0, saying, "We've done this so many times this season.
Yeah.
We were never out of any game." They had this real intrinsic belief that they were never out of it, and they proved that time and time and again. So I think that really speaks to the character of this group.
There's so many great moments, man. You brought up the Darlene hat trick. That sticks out a lot to me. I mean, we talked about it after the Sabres. We talked about it leading into that 8-7 win against Tampa. That I remember saying it on the show. The Sabres win this game, they're winning the division. And I remember, it's like, well, there's a lot more hockey left, and you were right. I think we did bounce back and forth between first and second in the division a couple times during that stretch. But that game, being at that game, that 8-7 win, that was insanity. Being in it, out of it, just how much fun that was. I don't remember outside of the playoffs, remember the arena ever being that loud. Being in the atrium after that, it just an incredible feeling. Being in Madison Square Garden for that win against the Rangers, I believe, like you say, I believe that was the Samuelson goal, and how much fun that was. Again, I believe coming from behind in that game. You talk about guts and resilience. You talk about Alex Lyon, the Lion King, and how his fan base kind of embraced him and really, took that ride with him. Him being on the show with us, that was a ton of fun. We kind of knew before a lot of other people that this guy was going to be good for us this year, and just the obvious weird fun goalie quotes he gave us, but just that list. I mean, clinching playoffs, showing up to the airport, clinching the division, winning our first playoff round in over 14 years, since 06, 07. I showed up to the airport and I was with a small handful of people after the 10-game winning streak. They lost after the 10-game winning streak, so they lost game 11. I was there, but even Lindy said it in one of his next interview with the press media after. He goes, there were some people there, that was cool, just in acknowledging the fact that there was 6 or 7 of us there. That was cool. And then just seeing it start from there, and then escalate to what it did. Really giving it that Bills Mafia feel, I guess, for all the people that show up to the airport for them. Being at those being there with those guys, I hooked them up all cases of Monster. That was, I mean, just like, it was just such a fun time, man. Just so cool. And then seeing the players like acknowledge us and realize like, holy shit, man, like it's like 1:30 in the morning. It was raining, and there was like 200 of us out there, easy 200. They were just blown. You could tell they were blown away. Seeing Lindy and Ras roll down the window. Rasmus Dahlin getting out of his car to punch, or punch the one Bruins, or the Bruins dummy. It was just such a cool season, and a fun season, a special season, and I'll never forget it, man. The only thing that would have made it better is if I would have been able to get my Beer Sabre sooner. But getting my Lion King jersey customized, that was cool. I was fully on the Lion King train this year, no doubt. I already mentioned the Dahlin hat trick after we found out what else he had been through, losing a child. The list goes on and on, man. And then now I'm officially a season ticket holder for next year, because I've been a season ticket holder in that arena for a lot of the years they've been there. But like, having been through and experienced a lot of the games that I went to this year firsthand, and other experiences, like, how can you not? How can you not? Getting to go to playoff games for the first time in over a decade. These are moments, as a Sabres fan, as a hockey fan, I'll hold close to my heart for a long, long time. And I can say confidently, man, that it's not over. It's not a one and done. I think this team is deep enough and talented enough. I think Jarmo's the guy to get it done. He's not afraid to take a big swing if necessary. We've seen that. So I feel pretty confident, man. I think this team, levels up next year, Hurls, compared to what they did this year.
I think so too. They're built for the long haul. They're the second youngest team in the league, aside from the Canadiens, who they just took to 7 games in overtime in the second round. I think there are moves to be made, but the core is there, and the pieces that are necessary for a good team to have sustained success are there. The development of Konsta Helenius and Noah Ostlund, I think, is super important. We talked about for years these first-round picks not necessarily even getting an opportunity to make the roster, let alone contribute in the playoffs. We saw that from both of them. We'll see if they're both still here following any discussions of Robert Thomas or anybody else. But I would like to see them remain on the team. I think they both have really, really bright top 6 futures, even top line futures for both of them, given their pedigree and how they developed and even how they've performed since they've been pro hockey players. So yeah, I'm excited. And I think next season is going to be super fun. I think at least 100 points is the expectation, and potentially even breaking a franchise record of 113 points, given everything that could potentially happen with goaltending, on defense, rounding out the top 9 and the bottom 6. Yeah, I think there's a lot of possibilities, but I think there's a chance this upcoming season could be the best in terms of point total in franchise history.
And that's saying a lot, considering that they did just have a 109 point season. You bring up Konsta Helenius, a guy who, we found out the news that he will play hockey again, and a couple clicks for Konsta.
Yuri Kulik. Yeah,
Yuri Kulik. Sorry. Having that guy added, a guy who you fully expected to have the whole season that you didn't have, that was supposed to be a big part of your offense, big part of your power play. Like, if these guys all come and level up and have the season that you hope and expect them to have for next year, to Kulik, Helenius, Ostlund, Benson, those 4 in particular, there's a realistic chance that they might not make any big dramatic changes. We've even talked about Sam Carrick and the bottom 6, which I think is pretty set. Like, how do you improve and where do you improve this team in the offseason? I don't know if you necessarily have to make any dramatic changes.
Connor. I mean, there is a discussion to be had about Josh Norris and Ryan McLeod, especially given how they performed.
Ryan McLeod was definitely a disappointment in the offense.
Yeah, but I think he was great throughout most of the season. So you got to weigh those two things. I don't want the top 3 centers to be Yuri Kulik, Konsta Helenus, and Noah Ostlund. I think you need more experience. You need more size. I think Tage Thompson, he's great as a center, but I think we also saw in the playoffs that he can play on the wing too, in the right situation. And if let's say you bring in a guy like Robert Thomas, I think Tage very, very clearly moves to the wing on that first line. So a lot of things can happen, but I do think they've got options, and they have a little bit of leverage that teams and players, especially players, will be way more likely to want to come to Buffalo and be a part of a trade or waive their no movement clause, seeing what happened in the playoffs. Jack Hughes on the Pat McAfee show organically brought up how amazing the atmosphere was in Buffalo.
Wasn't that cool, man?
Which is cool, yeah.
Like,
it's awesome.
Like he didn't even answer the question that he was asked. He just talked about how great Buffalo's atmosphere was.
I don't think he's the only one. I really don't. Guys watch the playoffs, obviously. They're fans too. And they're not just fans. They want to get any information they possibly can leading into next season, especially the guys that weren't playing in the playoffs. And watching those broadcasts of any of the home playoff games in Buffalo, obviously they didn't perform as well as they would have wanted to, but even the pregame leading into the game, even the reaction to Samuelson's goal in game 1, it's one of the loudest buildings I've ever been in my life. And if there was any question about whether the fan base wasn't bought in to this team and the city wasn't bought in, I think all of that was dispelled in the playoffs.
And here's the thing too, man, and I do want to piggyback on what you said. Like, all the talk about no trade clauses, no move clauses, players don't want to come here. Like, how much do you think the fan base plays into that now? Now that all of these guys who, like, you think about the generation of Sabres fans who have never seen good hockey, just how about this hockey fans who have never seen the Sabres play good hockey, and these players that are in the league, that are, whatever their birth years might be, that have never seen, at least in their adolescence, a Sabres team worth bragging about or being proud of. And on top of that, not seeing a fan base that was passionate or, rowdy, or because it's for the past decade plus, it's been Bills Mafia. Bills Mafia, Bills Mafia, Bills Mafia. Now you've seen firsthand what that Buffalo is a hockey town. We are. At our core, we are. You see the Blade Gang, which came out of nowhere, how organic that was. And how they capitalized off that. Now you're a free agent, or you're a guy who might be. Do you think Colton Parayko would change his mind, given knowing now what he does now? He might, but ex-player, whoever it might be, that changes the narrative. The fans help change that narrative. We do. Just going off what Jack Hughes just said. Do you think if Jack Hughes had 1 year left on his deal and the Devils are a shit show and he doesn't want to be there anymore, do you think he's looking at Buffalo and thinking, wow, man, that's based off what he even said on the Pat McAfee show?
No,
he's looking at Buffalo. He's like, man, that's a destination I want to play in.
Yeah, I think not only him, but there's bigger names out there, obviously, right? Like,
yeah,
don't necessarily want to discuss Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid yet, but not out of the question. So exciting time to be a Sabres player, exciting time to be a Sabres fan. And I think there's anything that could happen.
Yeah, we're getting really late into this. I didn't even realize how long we were just recording for, so we're going to wrap things up. I do want to announce our winner of the Sabres jersey giveaway. We've been waiting forever to give away this jersey because it was waiting to hit 1,000 followers on Instagram, which we did today. I think we're actually at 1,100 almost. Gained over 100 followers on Instagram today since we announced that. So his Twitter handle is Primetime Greg at Shakuku, SHAUKUKU. And he has a similar handle, I believe, on Instagram as well. I did reach out to make sure he didn't have an Instagram handle too, and he said he did, because we did it through like the generator. I assigned everybody a number, and we just did it that. And his handle won, and I made sure, like, hey, do you have an Instagram? He does. He actually, I'm reading it on our messages. He's actually in the chat right now, I believe. He's at Pavement Angel. So he's subscribed on all 3 platforms. So shout out to you. I'm just assuming your name is Greg. So congrats to you, Greg. You won yourself a Sabres jersey. So make sure you DM us, and we'll find a way to get that to you. And just if you're disappointed you didn't win, fear not. We actually have 2 more Sabres jerseys that we plan on giving away. We have this right here, which Connor, you have one of these with your name on it. This guy right here. Pretty sick, right?
Yeah.
We're going to be giving 2 of those away. So be on the lookout for that. And more stuff just that I will admit, out of my just being busy with work and just life, I haven't gotten around to really being on top of that. We're gonna be giving away a lot more stuff too. So this, this off season leading into the next season. So shout out to you guys. Congrats. Keep an eye out for more fun stuff. Our shirts are gonna be. I ordered a bunch of shirts too, which I think I ordered one for you as well. From 26 shirts. Those will be in, I think tomorrow. So maybe we'll do a giveaway with a shirt too as well at some point. I don't know. I'm gonna just cue it back up to our sponsors real fast. Shout out again to Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, get on over to Fatty Beer. Let them know 2 goalies, 1 mic sent you. Great vibes, live music, and entertainment all year round at Fatty Beer. They have an incredible. They have the Lancaster has the music series or the concert series all summer long. So make sure you keep your eye out for upcoming dates and live music there. They do a lot of food trucks out there as well, and all the other 7 Western New York locations. North Tonawanda, Amherst, Hamburg, Orchard Park, Rochester, Kenmore. I said Lancaster. All their locations. I believe I said Amherst, but just great vibes. Wherever you go when it comes to whichever location you go to when it comes to Fatty Beer, check out their FEM mango wheat, one of my favorites. Grab a chicken sandwich with some fatty sauce as well. Shout out to Extreme Discount Mattress, Western New York's finest selection of mattresses and adjustable beds. They have 7 different Western New York locations. You can find them at their website, extrememattress.com. That is extreme with an X. If you're looking for more savings, check out their new closeout center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga. Up to 80% off their already low prices on one-of-a-kinds closeouts and floor samples to get a quality mattress for literally pennies on the dollar. Extreme Discount Mattress. We sell mattresses for less, a lot less. Remember, if you mention you're a fan of 2 goalies, on Mike, you get a free mattress protector with the purchase of any mattress. So make sure you mention you're a fan of the podcast. And Impulse Physical Therapy of Western New York. Hey, Western New York, it's time to ditch the physical therapy clinics that treat you like you are just another number and step into a world where you are at the center of your care. Impulse is owned by Buffalo's only board-certified sports physical therapist. They work one-on-one using science-backed technology like 3D motion analysis and force plates to help you exceed your goals and become the healthiest, strongest version of yourself. So come experience the Impulse difference today and mention this for a discounted $77 assessment. So if you have a slip and fall, hurt on the field, hurt on the ice, maybe you just want to get some sports testing done, mention 2 goalies on Mike, get yourself a $77 assessment. So shout out to our sponsors this year too. You guys have been incredible. Fatty Beer, which is like it's our 3rd year running with them. Our 1st year with Extreme Discount Mattress and Impulse Physical Therapy. We hope to continue that relationship going forward. You guys have been absolutely incredible to not just us, but our fans who come in and support you guys through us. You guys have been awesome. So, a couple clicks for you guys. Really appreciate it. Kick it over to you, Hurls, for your final thoughts.
Yeah. So I think we all know how much this season meant to us. I think we know how much it meant to you guys. And I think the reinvigoration is an important part of this. Seeing even Canal Side
2-0 Carolina. Sorry, let me interrupt you. 2-0 Carolina.
Shout out. Seeing Canal Side packed with what looks like kids that were 25 years old and younger. It reminded me of what we saw in 06 and 07 and 05 and 06, the younger generation finally having something to get behind and to root for. I think was a really important part of bringing a new generation into this organization and to this hockey team. And I think the players, the coaching staff, the employees, the entire organization, and that goes for Terry Pagula and the upper management as well. Jarmo Kekalainen and all the guys he brought in, even Kevin Adams. I think a lot of people deserve acknowledgement and credit for not only breaking the drought, but for winning the Atlantic Division, winning a playoff series for the first time since 2007, reigniting the passion that what I think we all know has always been a hockey town through and through. It doesn't mean that it's not a football town. Again, mutually exclusive. I'll keep using the phrase. Those two things can exist at the same time. But I do believe more people grew up playing the sport of hockey and are more familiar with the intricacies of the game of hockey than they are the game of football. I think the Bills, there's a culture of tailgating. There's a culture that goes along with the NFL of the national prominence and it only existing 5 months out of the year. But at its core, I do believe Buffalo is a hockey town through and through. And you saw that from December on into the playoffs. It was a remarkable season. I think it could be considered nothing but a rousing success. Obviously, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals would have been incredible, but I think this team proved their will on and off the ice, with our captain Rasmus Dahlin being the best example, and I think the fans proved their their ability to fight through anything. You being an example of having the season tickets, having to get rid of them, and then being a season ticket holder this upcoming season.
Yeah.
You're not the only one that I know that has gone through that exact same story arc. If I was in Buffalo, I probably would have been the same. And yeah, I'm super excited for the future. We'll see what happens here in the next few months, but I think there's only positive things to look forward to, and I'm excited to be a part of the journey.
3-0 now. Stankoven just scored.
Yeah, well,
Canadians are done like dinner, and I love it.
Yeah, you can say that, but also they have come back from that exact same deficit this postseason. So who knows? It'll be tougher against a team like Carolina, but yeah, they may just be overmatched.
Yeah. So, Hurl, I mean, for those of you who are wondering, what our schedule will be like here, we're still going to cover the draft, or I think we'll probably cover some of the finals too. I mean, the finals are pretty much, I think it's not set in stone, but I feel pretty confident saying it's going to be Carolina and Vegas. We'll definitely do some episodes for that. We'll cover the draft, which will be here in Buffalo. Cover the combine, which will be here in Buffalo. We'll begrudgingly be there, probably do a watch. I don't know, do something for the Maple Leafs announcing their first pick. Hopefully, I hope we're not talking even. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you outside of Gavin McKenna and who's the other kid?
Stenberg.
Stenberg scored that nasty goal recently. Yeah, I mean, outside of those two, I don't really know much about this draft class because I haven't had to care. And then, like I said, we'll pop in here and there, no doubt. I mean, it's funny to say, but free agency is just around the corner too. So I think given the lack of high-end UFAs this offseason, I think that, means that'll be a pretty, active trade market out there. So that could be exciting. And we know Yarmo's we know Jarmo is willing to take a big swing. So I just want to thank you all for being here this season for this ride. I know and every episode like this, but I can't stress it enough, guys. The Peanut Gallery, people who follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, audio only, like you guys are the reason we do this. And I think this podcast just on YouTube alone this season has grown like anywhere between 800 to 1,000 followers, which if you're not 1,000, but like it's grown dramatically just on YouTube alone this season, which it probably around like 700 to 800 followers compared to where we were to start the season. I just mentioned we hit 1,000 followers on Instagram, which might not seem like much, but we didn't really pay a lot of attention to Instagram this year. The growth on other platforms like Twitter, like it's been insane this year, man. And you guys have been ride or die with us over the past few years, going back to the days with Johnny Cullen. Shout out to you, Cully. But like, you guys have stuck through it with us, and you've made this show worth doing. And on nights where it was almost unbearable to watch and miserable to watch, and it made these post games really hard to do, you guys always made it hard. Not hard, I'm sorry. You guys always made it easier and more fun and worth doing. And ended up at the end of the night after a bad loss with a smile on your face somehow. So I appreciate the hell out of all you guys, no doubt. And I can't wait to get the next season rolling and being able, to show you how much all the things we have in store and the things we have planned and the fun stuff. And, me and the team are already talking about next year and what we can improve on and whatnot. So I'm excited, and I appreciate the hell out of you. You guys are the goats of this podcast, not me and Hurls. So that being said, if you are audio only and you want to follow along, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search out Two Goalies and Mike. The show is on Facebook. Just search the same thing, Two Goalies on Mike. We're on Instagram at Two Goalies on Mike. I am at Duane S39, Duane S39. Hurls, your Instagram handle was what again? I'm sorry. I've been saying Hurls 13 forever.
Yeah, Hurley Connor, CONOR 13.
Yep, and then obviously Twitter at Duane S39, at Two Goalies One Mike, at Hurls 13, and most importantly, obviously, the YouTube. The boob tube. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. Hit the little bell icon, turn your notifications on so you know when we go live, and smash that like button, guys. Please, please, please smash that like button. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to you, Hurls. Shout out to Jeff. Shout out to Joey, intern Joey. Shout out to producer Steve. Shout out to Sam, to Sean, to Chris, to Flatley, to Mike Flats. Shout out to I can't just dismiss everybody in the chat, so I want to make sure I don't want to leave literally anybody out. Shout out to you, Charles. Shout out to it's bad that I'm terrible at names. Shout out to Jimmy, Robert, intern Rob. Shout out to you, Joe. And again, you guys have all been a huge help this season for making sure that it was a team effort, and Alex too. You don't forget about you, Alex. Thank you so much for being on this ride along with us for this special year, and I'm super excited for the year. And shout out to my dogs too, who are an absolute menace this day. And I apologize to Dom, my dog. I ran over his tail, or you probably heard it earlier, so I felt bad about that. So I want to make sure I apologize to him publicly when I went to scoop back and the liquid and the beer all over myself. I ran over his tail, so I apologize, bud. You should come here, bud. Here. Come here. Oh, Daisy's been on the screen enough times, but here's Dom the dog. Look at that face. He's an OG. He's a two goalies, one Mike OG guy. Here's Daisy. Come here, girl. Oh, there she is. Shout out to you, Daisy. There she is. This has been Two Goalies, One Mike, ending a historic 2025-2026 season. And as Alex Lyon said in his exit interview, next season starts today or tomorrow, maybe the next day. I don't know. We'll talk to you guys later. As always, go Sabres.